Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to fellow colleagues in the self-financing sector. Now, when this thing was set up on the IDS, it was basically to build capacity of institutions like us in our strategic area. It so happens that this sort of aim fits very nicely with our research mission, our research strategy, and also our research needs. In terms of research mission, we were set up, like all of us here, as a predominantly teaching institution. But you and I should know that teaching must be informed and enriched by research. Otherwise, you'll be teaching boring stuff in textbooks, probably 4 years out of date. So our aim for students is to inform them with cutting-edge knowledge so that they actually know the challenges of the current world and workplace. For the faculty staff, if they do nothing but teach, they also get a bit bored. So we really got to keep them alive by asking them to do research. And of course, since we are vocationally and professionally based, all the type of work we do in research must have almost immediate use to society in general. This is why all our academic staff have at least 20% of their time, 1 day per week, set aside for applied research and or consultancy. Now, it also fits in with our research strategy. Obviously, being a small institution, you cannot do research on everything under the sun. So we need to pick something quite small that is doable and obviously of interest to society. We are sort of multi-faculty operations, so faculty of design and environment, faculty of management and hospitality, faculty of science and technology, as well as the School of General Education Languages. So we have a lot of people, expertise in a lot of disciplines. We've got to make use of that. Secondly, we must set objectives in our research strategy that are doable or attainable. And then we have on our faculty staff people who have been recruited from UGC institutions like Chinese U, Hong Kong U, Poly U, and places like that, who are seasoned researchers who will take the lead in our research work. And of course, we have a lot of junior academics, teaching fellows level, who actually are not experienced, but who are very, very keen. So that's our research strategy. In terms of research needs, as you know, we're all self-financing. We don't have a lot of money. So we need to build up our basic research infrastructure, equipment, and facilities. And also, we have a lot of, as I said, junior academics who are very keen but require help in their research capacity development. Now, okay, so that's the background. And in terms of what we do in terms of selecting a few research areas, I sat down when this thing came up. We were invited to apply in 2001, 516 with the 3 deans plus the head of the general education and languages. What is it that we do? Went on all the thing, and it turns out conveniently that all the 3 faculties' research work, especially the Faculty of Science and Technology, were very keen in working on environmental matters. So we picked a theme called sustainable living, and then everything we have done since then, including the next application in 1718, would be under this theme. So why are we interested in this particular theme? Well, obviously we know natural resources are being depleted very rapidly. Living environment is declining in its quality, and obviously it's a very big issue for us, and be even more so now that Mr. Trump will be the next president of the US. How do we actually keep sustainable living? Basically, in all these man-made resources, we will try to reduce the waste, which is why in our first application, there were 6 research centers for waste and resource management. We have a theme on how to make use of food waste, turn it into biomass. We have a theme research team on how to make use of industrial waste, and so on and so forth. Reduce consumption, well, that's easier said than done. Those of you actually have a bit of extra weight will know how hard it is to reduce consumption. But nonetheless, we don't need to consume all the things we consume these days. So somehow we've got to introduce the idea. We know fast fashion culture. My wife, an example, she buys all the shoes and new dresses, never get to wear them. And then 3 months later, she threw them away. They're just wasteful, okay? Men are better. I only have 1 pair of shoes, whereas my wife has 10. Increased neighborhood greening, oh, that's perfectly obvious need that we have, especially in Hong Kong. Now, so our approach is basically we have one theme, which is sustainable living. Secondly, for each application, we have two prongs, two parts. And then, as a result, we have two successful IDS projects. The 201516, the two parts are firstly institution-wide. Obviously, we need to look after all researchers in a whole of institution. Okay, so this is an institution-wide type part. The second part is to then focus on something related to sustainable living. And the first cab of the rank would be the Faculty of Science and Technology, because they have a lot of research work, seasoned researchers on this. So we set up the Research Center for Waste and Resource Management, which had its opening last week, by the way. And the second round, 1617, again, we have a two-pronged thing. We again built on the institutional-wide support to build on the things that was given to us in 1516. And for the focus team, we have a Center for Sustainable Design and Environment, which is headed by our second faculty. The first one was Faculty of Science and Technology, this time Faculty of Design and Environment. So these are the type of objectives we have in the last year's round. So these are typically the type of thing you would do an institution-wide objective. For the more focusing, obviously carried out research work in sustainable design, and then to help the early career researchers in the two disciplines, and then engage students in research. We don't offer master's program or PhD, but we do have a very important final year project for our students. We will apply to offer taught master's program and offer it for the first time 1819. But for the time being, we're concentrating on our undergraduate students. And then, of course, we will promote sustainable lifestyle to the general public. So this is how we set the whole thing for the 1617. As you can see, on your left-hand side, this is the institution-wide development. And the other side is the focus development on sustainable living. As I said before, it is to set up a research center that produces results that will help us to have sustainable living. Now, the Research Support Center, these are the type of things, and it's headed actually by my colleague Tracy Kwang. She's somewhere there. She's a research manager. Her job it is to set the whole thing up, organize research training workshops for the younger faculty, with seminars held by the more senior people, a bit long in the tooth experience, provide one-to-one research consultation, provide professional English editorial service. You and I know that because English is not the first language, and they have to be in English, the actual written English is not quite 100%, so we'll provide professional editorial service to make sure that when you guys read the thing, you can understand it the first time. We subscribe to research e-journals, and then we showcase the research work of our students and staff, and then we also provide a new campus on the existing campus in Qingyi, the space for the research assistants. And then, so this is the detail of it as to what the 1617 Center for Sustainable Design and Environment. If you're interested in it, afterwards you can ask my colleague Alice Su and then Ellen Huang. They're the experts on things like this as to what exactly they get up to. Then, what do we expect as the outcome? Basically, for the junior academics, greater interest in research. Secondly, we have to improve the quality of the, is it time to say goodbye? To improve the quality of research proposals and publications. Thirdly, to actually, because we do these things better, to actually get more external research grants for further research. We already have done quite well with this particular scheme, but our staff have also got quite big grants from other funding bodies like ITF, the QESS from EDB and things like that. And then, and hopefully we'll hope to work with academics from other institutions in the self-finance sector and also from UGC and elsewhere for greater collaboration in research among academics. And then, very importantly, to actually have research-informed teaching. You notice that in each of our two applications, there is a third element, which is a center for education and training, where we will obviously hope the research we have generated from the research, better research capacity, will be disseminated not only to the public as well as included in our teaching program. And then lastly, if we do all these things well, then obviously we end up with a sustainable living, which is the aim of our whole approach to the more focused aspect of our application. So thank you very much. So let me just recap then. Basically, we had two major themes when we set out. One is to improve the capacity for researchers in all of the institutions. And secondly, unlike other applications that we've seen from the 201516 list of applicants, we say we must have a focus element to it, and our focus is actually on this theme, sustainable living, which happens to be the research area that all our faculty staff are very good and interested in. Thank you very much.